Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Quintana and I'm excited to share some additional ideas with the April 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. This kit is called Change is Beautiful and it truly is a beautiful kit. I'm going to share how you can use the stamp set in your kit and some of the supplies that came with it to create a beautiful spinner card, a set of note cards, and a note card box. This video is for everyone, but I'm going to have a special project sheet just for my subscribers. Also, my subscribers get a kit night with me, and that's always the second Wednesday of the month. And we just had our kit night last night, and it was just great to see some of my subscribers and spend some time with them. If you would like to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin with me, I've got the link right here, and I'm also going to have a clickable link in the description of this video. When you're signing up, make sure at the end it will make sure you verify who you're signing up with. I'm Brenda Quintana in Auburndale, Massachusetts. Sometimes it doesn't come up as easily, so you can search for me and find me. And if you still have problems, just let me know, and I can always double check that you're signed up with me, or make sure that you get signed up or moved under me if there was a mistake made. All right, we will have a new Paper Pumpkin kit in May, as we do each month, and I'm going to share information about that new kit at the end of this video. The sign up deadline is the 10th of every month, and so the May Paper Pumpkin deadline is May 10th. All right, are you ready to get started? Are you ready for me to show you my new samples? I hope you are. I'm going to switch over to my other camera now. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the project sheet, part of the project sheet that I'm going to be sending out to my subscribers with it has instructions and pictures and a supply list. So it just makes it really handy for everyone. So let me show you the first project we're going to make. Oops, I have to do something, a little something off camera here. Let me just get it set up. Sorry, I have to pretend like this card is going to be closed. So I have to close it up and get it ready for you. Okay, so here's the outside of the card. It's really simple. I used one of the card bases and I just cut it up to put on the front. But when you open up the card, the little butterfly spins. So I just love how that happens. To get it to spin, before you mail it, you just take your little butterfly and you just kind of spin it around. You need to do about 10 to 15 times until you kind of feel the tension. And then what you do is you close the card without releasing the spin. And then you stick it in the envelope so that when the person opens it, it's going to spin for them right away. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this card. So we're going to start off with a card base, and this one's a little shorter than a normal card base. And I'm going to follow along my instructions so that I give you the right measurements. So this card base measures 10 3/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. So we'll just take our scoring board and put that 10 3/4 inch side up at the top. I need my, here is the stylus too. It's hiding on me. So we're going to score this in half at the 5 3/8 inch mark. Okay. And then we're just going to fold it. Use my bone folder. I find it easier to smooth out on my scoring board because it makes sure everything is nice and square. So that is my card base. And then we're also going to need an insert piece. So this piece is Bermuda Bay cardstock, and it measures 10 1/4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to put the long side up at the top, and I'm going to score at the 2 7/8 inch mark. the 5 1/8 inch mark and the 7 3/8 inch mark. Okay. So now we have to create this little window right here. And I have this piece, I don't have it glued in. I'm gonna glue it in afterwards, but I wanted to show you because I'm gonna have the other, I'm gonna do a slightly different design with one of the other cards. So I wanted to show you how it kind of fits in there really perfectly. So that's not glued in yet. But of course, when you do your card, you're gonna wanna make sure that that piece is glued in. So we're gonna create this circular window right now. So you're going to need your layering circles dies, and you're going to need the largest smooth circle. This circle measures almost 3 inches across, not quite. And you're going to take, move some things aside so I have room. Take your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I've got my normal sandwich, which is the base plate, which is a number 1, thin die adapter number 2. We've got our cutting plate, a clear cutting plate, which is a number 3. And then we're going to put our piece. And you'll see that we've got 3 score lines, and we've got this middle score line. And that's where we're going to line up our circle on. Here's a little tip for you. If you are nitpicky like me, and you want to make sure your circle is right in the center, earlier today I cut a circle just out of regular computer paper, and I'm going to fold it in half. Make sure it's perfectly in half, like there's no overlap, okay? And then you're going to fit your circle into right, so it's right touching the edge. And you can see right here, I added Sharpie marks right at the top and the bottom. And that is going to give you the centering point, because you know you folded this in half. So now you can line up the circle right on the score line, and you'll know that you're perfectly centered with that. So that's just a little trick for centering purposes. Okay, so you need to find your middle score line, and then if you've Sharpied it out, then you just line up your Sharpie marks on that score line. And you can pretty easily eyeball the top to bottom to make sure they have the same width from the top and from the bottom. Or if you're not going to do the Sharpie method, just eyeball it. You just want the circle centered on here so that it's centered in the center of this piece of cardstock. Okay, I'm just now nitpicking. And then put your second cutting plate on top, and then you're going to roll this through. And now we're going to have a window perfectly centered. All right, so that's all the die cutting we need to do for this entire project. For all my projects, you just need that one circle die cut, but circles are very hard to hand cut smoothly. Okay, so now we're going to fold this into a W. So we're going to fold this one. And we're going to fold this one in. And then we've got the score line in the center, and that's going to be the top part of the W. So I'm just going to carefully bring that together. And what I want to make sure is I want to make sure this lines up really nicely, that it isn't crooked at all. So if it is a little crooked, you can kind of just adjust it a little bit and then smooth it out again. Because when we glue this in, if this is like perfectly straight, it's gonna look nicer once you got your final product. Okay, so we can set this piece aside for just a moment. And now we are going to create our butterfly spinner. Bringing these pieces in. So I went ahead and stamped and colored and cut out these pieces, but just want to show you. I'm grabbing a piece of scrap cardstock. I've just used my Memento ink and this butterfly stamp. Here are all the stamps that come with the piece. I've got them all on blocks except for the one stamp I didn't use, but it's got a lot of great greetings and it's got these 2 butterflies. So all you want to do is you just want to stamp in Memento ink. You want to stamp twice, and then you want to color your butterfly with Stampin' Blends, and you can use whatever colors you want. I tried to use colors that were in the cardstock, so Bermuda Bay, Melon Mambo, and I used Daffodil Delight. And so I just basically, I colored 2 butterflies, so when they spin, one side's going to be Bermuda and the other side is going to be melon colored, so hopefully it will provide a little bit of contrast as it spins. So basically just I did the light. I'm just going to show you real quick. I did light on this inside piece. So same thing with the Bermuda Bay, doing the lighter color on the bigger portion. And then for the body, I took the darker. This is Melon Mambo Dark. And then for the wingtips, I used my Daffodil Delight Light. And I did the other butterfly the same way. Bermuda Bay Light on the main body part. Not the body part, the wings, the main wing part. The main body part was the dark Bermuda Bay, and then the wingtips were Daffodil Light. And then I just fussy cut them out with scissors. You need 2 butterflies because they're going to be swirling around. So you need 2 of them. And then I'm going to take a piece of baker's twine. And that is, you can get some baker's twine in the Essentials baker's twine pack. It has different colors. I'm using white right here. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to take a little bit of Tombow. I'm going to protect my work surface because sometimes the glue goes out a little bit. So Tombow, I love Tombow for this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow right along. This Tombow's almost gone. Okay, so that's probably even a little bit too much, but I'm just putting it on the body part. It will dry in a moment. So then I'll take my twine and place it right down the center of the body. Okay. And then I'll take my other butterfly, and this time I'm going to be very literal. Very literal if I can get my Tombow to move here. Come on. I'm debating whether or not I should open up my next bottle. I always have a next bottle ready to go. I might have to by the end of this video. So I put a lot of Tombow on here just because I want to make sure that twine gets sandwiched really well and it's stuck. Doesn't twist away from the butterfly. So now I'm going to take the 2 butterflies and line them up. Make sure the baker's twine is sandwiched. Squish them down with your fingers. Okay, I think we're doing pretty well. Okay. All right, so I've got my butterfly ready. Got a little glue on my fingers. Okay, and then we're going to take the back side. So this is the W. So this is going to be the front. So I'm going to turn it over to the back, and I'm going to take tear and tape this time because it's just easier for positioning purposes. And then I'm going to cover it with some Tombow glue on a little tab, and I'll show you how to create those in a second. So I'm just going to add just about a 1/2 inch piece. This is tear and tape, and I'll remove the liner, and now the tear and tape is just sitting out there. And you have to decide, do you want your Bermuda Bay butterfly or your Melon Mambo butterfly to stick out? I think I'll do the Melon Mambo one to have it kind of be the prominent one. So I'm just laying this across here, and you want it tight, but you don't want it super tight. You want it, let me put it to you this way. You want the baker's twine taut, but not like stretched. So you just want it so that it's laying across, and if it's not really bowing or anything like that. It's just sitting there in place. And then what you can do is just snip off the ends of the excess baker's twine. Once you got it how you'd like it. It's easier to have the extra length so you can stretch it across. Okay, so now we can just let that sit for a second, and I want to show you how I created little covers for that tear and tape. So I've got a piece of Bermuda Bay here. This is 1.5 inches by 1 inch. I'm going to put the 1.5 inch side up at the top, and I'm just going to score this at the 3.25 inch mark. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Then I'm going to come in with my trimmer. I'm going to make 2 tabs out of these. This time I'm going to line, this is the 1 inch side here, so I'll line it up at the 1/2 inch mark here. Make sure this is pressed down. Put your finger on the guide here so that your cardstock is securely positioned, and then we're going to cut. Oh, it's not as securely positioned as I wanted it to be, so cut. If for some reason your cardstock is shifting on you, move your cutting blade from the bottom and then go up this way. That way you're pushing it right into the guide, and it shouldn't shift on you then if you have trouble. Okay, so now we have these 2 pieces, and they have the score line in the middle. So just fold them along the score line. And then we're going to come in here and we'll put Tombow on both sides, and we're going to cover up that tear and tape. Press down and just kind of mold it right into the fold. This way you're really securing down that baker's twine, because you want to make sure that it doesn't come loose. Okay, so that's the back covered, and then we'll do the same for this side. And because my glue is kind of going on me, you know what? Okay, that one's gonna go in the garbage. It's gotten to the point where it's annoying me. It's not flowing like it should. All right, so we just want a little bit. Okay, here we go. Don't want to put too much. Oh. All right, if you ever have excess glue, it's too much, take a piece of scrap paper and just kind of put it across your paper and just brush it off. So now it's kind of brushed down, and it's hopefully not going to ooze as much as my first one did. When you get down to the end of the glue, it does that, and The glue is just starting out now here on this other one. But I love Tombow. It is the best way to put cards together because your cards aren't going to come apart. And so I really like it for that. Okay, so now just make sure that your card will fold nicely together again. Okay, so we've got that all positioned and ready, and we can just put that aside for a second. So now let's focus on how we're going to create a cover and this inside insert piece. So this is one of the card bases, and for the first card I used the other card base with this look. And now let's see how it's going to look with this one. We're going to do a slightly different one. So what we want to do, we're going to cut this apart. First we're going to cut this big panel here away from this folded panel. So let's have a look at the measurements that we need. We need to cut this to 5 1/8 by 4 inches. So let's have a look first. Let's cut along the score line first. Let's do that. Okay, so first we're going to cut these away from each other. So we'll save this for the inside. And now we need to cut this to 5 1/8. So we need to have a look here. Okay, I think I would rather cut a little bit off here because you can see the score mark right here. So let me cut off a little bit of that. So we get rid of that. And then we want this to be 5 1/8 by 4. And I'm trying to decide, where do I want, I think I'm going to cut, no, I'm going to cut off the top. So just find where that is, number at 4, line this up, and we're going to cut this. Okay, so this is going to be on our card front. We'll set that aside. And now we need to cut this down a little bit. So we need to decide where we're going to cut things off. So we need to cut off a 1/4 inch from either the top or the bottom. So you just need to decide where this is going to appear in the window. Does it look better like this or like this? I think it looks better when it's down like here than up like here. So let's cut the 1/4 inch off of the top. Okay, so we're going to cut it so it's going to be 4 inches with this length. And then we need to cut a little bit off either end. So we're going to cut off a 1/4 inch off this side and a 1/4 inch off that side. And the reason we're doing it off of both sides rather than just off one of the ends is because we want to maintain this score line as the center point. So if we cut off 1/2 inch here, then this side here is going to be shorter than this side. So we're just going to take this, cut off 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. So that should work for our insert piece. Okay, so I just looking at my instructions, making sure I'm following along. So this piece right here, let's take our bone folder and fold it. This piece is going to be adhered into the card base right there. And then this one is going to be across here like this. So I'm just going to take some Tombow. And we're going to glue this. There's going to be a little bit of black you'll see on the top and the bottom. Okay, we're going to close this, just fold it one more time. Okay, so we've got that. And now we're going to glue this side first. We're gluing the outer two panels. Okay, so we're putting glue on the back of this panel, and later we'll do this panel. But first we're going to do this one. And we're just going to bring this in and just kind of nest it up against here. Using this as a guide. And just smooth that down. Then we're going to bring these in here. And we'll put Tombow on this side while it's folded. You want to have it folded. What we're going to do is you're going to make sure you hold down this and make sure it's flat, and then we're going to cover it like this. So the way I do it is I have one finger over on this side. I'm going to put my thumb down here at the bottom to keep this down, and then I'm going to bring my pointer finger over like this, and then we're going to smooth that down. And this is going to hopefully position the card so it looks really nice when it opens up. Okay, so there we go. We've got our little spinnery butterfly, and of course you just need to spin it and then close it before you release the spin to get that to spin. And now we just need to create two little panels over here for the sides. So we're going to use 2 pieces of basic white, and I've cut them both to 2 5/8 by 3 3/4 inches. And we're just going to need some of the greetings, and where are we? This one is, nope, this one. Beautiful things take time, and I believe in you. And you don't have to use the greetings that I am using. You can choose whichever one you want. And I'm going to use my tuxedo black. And so for me, I just want to kind of stamp it in the center, but this one's going to be a little bit offset to the one side. Then I'm going to take my little caterpillar and just bring him over here. The caterpillar also comes with a set, and then I'm going to take the I Believe in You, and I'm just trying to kind of keep them on the same level on my card. And then I'm going to add this one. So for the butterfly, I would color it the same way as I colored the other butterfly before. And for the caterpillar, I'll just show you what I did for the caterpillar. So I'm just going to come in with my light and come down on all of those stripes. Like that, coming down on the black and kind of just going over the black, and then on the belly I'm just going to come up and do the Daffodil Delight light, and then just do that. So I can go back in afterwards and color my butterfly, but I just want to show you how to pop in these panels here. And I just am going to add this one here. And this one over here on this side. Okay, now of course I'll color this butterfly, and there's a little bit of room to write on either side if you want to write yourself a little message. You can see how beautiful that little scene is in the background, and then we've got this little butterfly that's going to spin when the person opens the card. And then we've got this front piece right here, And we're going to adhere that onto here. And just adhere that down. And then I thought I would take one of the die cuts from the kit itself, because I'm not going to use some of them on the card. So I'm just going to take one of the butterflies, and actually there is a package of dimensionals that come with the kit, so you can use those. And I'm just going to pop probably about 4 of them on here to support the wings. And that will just give this butterfly a little dimension, and it will save you from stamping an extra butterfly. It's a nice little lead in. I'm going to cover up these birds here because I'm kind of thinking that the butterfly doesn't need to compete with the birds, and since there's no birds on the inside, I kind of want to do that. If you want to, you can take one of these labels and stamp yourself another greeting for the inside. If you want to embellish this more, this kit also comes with, where are they? It's underneath. We've got some of these little embellishments that you could use to add there. And since you're already going to have some baker's twine for this, you could tie yourself a bow and then also put that on the front. But you can keep this very simple. Sometimes when I have a spectacular inside, I don't want to spend so much time on the outside of the card because I have a lot of beautiful stuff on the inside that I would rather have them focus on. So this is kind of like a teaser lead in to what's on the inside. But definitely if you want, you could like stamp yourself a little greeting here and randomly place some of those embellishments on there, and I think that would look really cute. And then of course my original card looks like this. So this had more of a colorful front panel, and the inside panel is a little bit more subdued than this panel here. This one has a lot more color to it right there. So you can decide how you want to bring all of those together, but you could have fun. In fact, if you wanted to, you could stamp and cut out some of these butterflies. What I would probably do is I would take this one and maybe just go ahead and stamp it like maybe in Melon Mambo and one in Daffodil Delight, and that would look really cute on the front there. I added an extra butterfly here, so you can just jazz it up however you want. Okay, that is card number 1. And let's go ahead, and I want to show you how to make a note card set. And let me just reset everything here so that I know where everything is. Okay. We're going to start off by making the note cards. Here is the note card box. And here are my little note cards on the inside. I'm going to show you how to make the note card box last. But let's start off. Here are, I have an extra one. Here are the little note cards. These are 1 layer note cards. They're really cute. They just use, well, this one uses both of the butterflies, and this one just uses 1 butterfly and a greeting. So I want to show you how to make these. I think it would make a really cute note card kit. So we'll start off with what I call note card number 1. If you are getting my PDF, and I'm going to need the note cards. I'm going to need a package of note cards and envelopes. This is really nice because the card bases come pre-cut, pre-scored to the correct measurements. We're going to need 3 card bases because we're making 3 cards. And then afterwards we'll need 3 envelopes. And these envelopes will also fit inside the kit. Note, these are not our regular Stampin' Up! Size cards. They're not, the card front on these is 5 inches by 3.5. So if you're going to cut your own note cards, You'll start with a 7" by 5" piece, and you're going to score in half at the 3.5" mark, and that's what's going to create a note card for you. And your Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell note card envelopes separately, so you'll either have to make yourself some or purchase some invitation size envelopes elsewhere. But I love these. They're a great price, and then you have 20 note cards and 20 envelopes ready to go. It's so much fun to make cards when you don't have to do a lot of prep work. Okay, so we're going to start off by folding and smoothing down the fold here. And we're going to need 3 ink pads. So I'm going to just do a little rearranging right here so that I can have all of my ink pads open up top. I'm using 3 colors: Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Bermuda Bay. Try to use the same colors as the contents of the kit. Okay, so we're going to start off with, I'm going to clean my stamp because I used it in a different color ink. And we're going to start off by stamping in the corner here. And just adding 1 butterfly. And we're going to add, let's add this one. It's like about here. And then we're going to add this one about here. Then you're going to clean it off because you don't want to muddy your ink pads. And then we're going to use Melon Mambo. And I'm going to come around, just going to come right here. And when I'm stamping, I'm tapping. I'm not smooshing into my ink pad, because if you smoosh too hard, then you're going to get ink everywhere. So I'm just kind of being conscious of not smooshing too hard. And then I'm going to take Daffodil Delight. I'm going to nest it around there. Oops. I didn't do a good job with that. Let's line it back up. Okay. It's not 100% perfect this time. My goodness. But guess what? It actually, I don't think you're going to notice it so much because I'm hyper focused on my double stamped butterfly. But because there's so many butterflies and that one's upside down, I'm not going to notice it. So if you need practice before you get onto your note cards, this is a good point. I always have some little extra pieces of computer paper cut up. And this is note card size, so it's 5" by 3.5. And before I stamp onto my good cardstock or note cards, I practice on these little guys first. And I just didn't pay attention. When I was stamping down, I needed to make sure I had full contact, and I didn't. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my greeting, and this one says every day is a new day. And this one is going to be stamped down here at the bottom in Bermuda Bay. And that's it for the note card. So we've got 2 right here that can fit in. Now I'm going to show you how to do this one. There's some little tips and tricks with these guys. So I'll take my second note card. I'm going to fold it up. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it so the folded side is facing towards me. And I'm going to do the same with this one. We're going to put the fold, because we're going to stamp this row of butterflies first. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to measure over 2.5 inches from the side and 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. I have a nice centering ruler right here, so I'm going to use that. But it still just measures 2.5 inches over and 3/4 of an inch up. So if you have a regular ruler, here's my regular ruler at the bottom, So just measure up 2.5 and then make sure it's 3/4 of an inch from the fold. Okay, so I've got myself a little dot, and now I know, you can see it, now I know that's going to be the starting point of all of my stamping. So make sure my butterfly stamp is clean, and I'm going to take it, and first we're going to stamp in Daffodil Delight, and we're going to stamp it. It's easier to stamp when the butterfly is facing the correct direction. So you can probably see my pencil mark is just at the bottom of that piece. And then I'm going to come in with my second butterfly, and it's just going to be touching right here. And then third butterfly on the opposite side. And then you'll need a little scrap piece of paper because you're going to go off the edge. So we're going to come back over to this side here and just add the one side of the butterfly. So you come across, and then we'll switch over to the other side and then stamp the other one. Okay, so we've got a row of butterflies, but these ones are going to be upside down. So now the fold turns back over this way. And we're going to do the same thing, well, not the exact same thing, but we're going to stamp Melon Mambo butterflies. So let's turn this over so you can kind of see how I'm creating this pattern. I cleaned off my stamp, and now I'm inking up with Melon Mambo. And then I'm going to come, these wingtips kind of come together here, and that's where my antenna are going to go. And then I'll come over with my next one and stamp. So I'm just creating a line, and then this one. Okay, and then we'll come over here on this side and stamp that one down. So now we've created kind of a band of butterflies. These ones are upside down and these ones are right side up. And then we're going to just add a greeting, and this one's I used "I'm so proud of who you've become." And since I want to introduce the third color, I'm going to be stamping this in Bermuda Bay down here at the bottom. So that's how I would do the second note card. All right, and then for the third note card, I really like this one because you can kind of create a little circular pattern. So again, we're going to fold the note card. And remember, I used the layering circles dies earlier to cut myself a window. This time, we're not going to cut a window, but I'm going to use one of the dies. This one measures, I'm not measuring the cut size, I'm measuring the circle. It measures 1 5/8 inches across. So you're going to need a circle that you can put on here that's about between 1.5 and maybe about 1.5 to 1 5/8 inches wide. And I'm going to put this down about 1 1/4 inches from the top and then centered from side to side. And yes, I am eyeballing it this time. Let me grab my card. Scoot this aside. Let me grab my card. I'm going to clean off my stamp. And this time I'm going to be stamping first in Daffodil Delight. So just make sure I've got this positioned how I want it. And I'm going to take my first butterfly, I'm going to stamp him right up at the top. I did it again. I stamped too quickly. All right, that little one did not get inked. All right. You know, I've done this card perfectly so many times, and now I am just a little bit off. Okay, so now I'm going to concentrate. Make sure I stamp both sides. Actually, that side didn't look too bad. And then I'm going to come over here, stamp this side. over here on this side. Okay, so we've got north, south, east, west, and now I can remove that. That was just kind of to get myself a nice little ring for the butterflies. And now this little butterfly, we haven't used it yet. And I'm going to stamp Melon Mambo mini butterflies in between the other ones. So just creating kind of a neat little pattern. Okay. And then we are going to take this other greeting, and this one says, "May this new season hold wonderful new experiences." And I've got my Bermuda Bay, and I'm just going to stamp that down in the center. So now we've got another 1-layer card. So we're going to set these cards aside, and now we are going to create our little note card box, and I'll show you how everything fits inside the note card box. This kind of makes a nice little gift set for everyone. I'm going to move some of these stamps to the side because I need a little bit of room to show you how to create that box. Okay, and I think I'm done with those layering circles dies. Okay, we're going to do some scoring work and some box creating. So first of all, we need a piece, and let me show you the box real quick. So the box is 3 pieces. We've got this back piece right here. We've got a piece for the bottom, and then we've got a piece for the top. And they all come together to form this box like this. Okay, it kind of looks a little bit like a book. Okay, so we've got our back piece, and the measurements for that, I need to switch to my box page. So the measurements for this piece are 9.5 by 5.5. And I'm going to take my scoring tool, put the 9.5-inch side up at the top, and we are going to score at the 4.25-inch mark and the 5.25-inch mark. All right. And so we can set this piece aside. We're going to fold it in a minute. And then we're going to take our box bottom piece, and this piece measures 7.25 inches by 6 inches. So for this piece, we're going to score it at the 1-inch mark on all 4 sides. Pretty easy scoring. Oops. Okay. Stand up while you do this because it's going to keep you from doing what I just did. I kind of went off on a tangent. When you're standing up right in front of the score line, it's going to help you stay centered, and it's going to help you score. When you sit and score, it's not as easy to get those lines straight. Okay, so now we're going to create the box bottom. And I'm using thick basic white because it's a little thicker and it makes for better 3D items. So this piece, what I did is I cut myself a piece of cardstock. This is 6.25 by 5 inches. And I took off 1/16 off of each side. So for some of us, it's easier to start off with the piece, and then take the 16th inch off. So 6.25 by 5 inches, and then just go 1 tick smaller on either side. So you're taking 1/16 off. So if you want the actual 16th measurements, this piece measures 6 3/16 by 4 15/16. On this one, we're going to score at the 1/2 inch mark on all 4 sides. Okay. I think we're done all the scoring we're gonna do. So let's take our box bottom and we're going to come in on the short side. We've got two short sides and we're going to cut along the score line just until the first score intersection. Okay. Other short side and do the same thing. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to fold up the little tabs so they're a little bit more visible. So that's what it looks like. Short side, cut up, short side, cut up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold these along the score lines. Open them up. And fold. Okay, so we've got our base, and then we're going to put Tombow. Let's turn this over, and we'll put Tombow on the four corners. I basically draw a little square on all the four corners. So if you're worried about getting glue on your fingers, put the glue on one square at a time. But I'm going to live dangerously, so I'm going to bring this together right here. If you want to make this box look better, I could have tapered this side a bit so it didn't stick out. Just take care when you're bringing this together, you want your score line to line up with your cut line. Come around here, bring these two ends in. I'm just kind of holding them one at a time and bringing them together. Okay, so there is the box bottom, and let's just do the box top really quickly. So we're going to cut up along the score line. I just want to see. Okay, good. When I first did this, I got the measurements wrong when I calculated them, and I just wanted to double check that I didn't do them incorrectly. So the pattern is the same. I'm cutting up on the short side, on both short sides, just till I hit that first score intersection. This time it's a little narrower because this is only a 1/2 inch score line. And then we'll create the box top in the same way, just by folding along the score lines. All right, and then if I flip this over, I can add Tombow to all four corners at once. Save myself a little time overdoing it one at a time. And then we're going to bring these guys together. Just take a moment to line them up nicely. Squeeze them, pinch the corners a little bit with your fingers. That score line matches up with the cut line. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bring this in. And then last one. Didn't hold that one long enough. Okay. All right. Then let's have a look at our piece, our outer piece that we scored. That was the first piece we scored. And we're also going to do this and do this. So we fold it and then we use our bone folder to burnish the fold. This kind of looks like the cover of a book. Okay, so we are going to adhere the top down first. Then we're going to place this over top. And then we're going to adhere this down last, okay? So start off. Got it stuck now. We're going to start off by positioning the top, okay? So when I'm doing this, what I want to see the same distance on this side and this side. So this is, I'm going to center it, but I'm not paying attention to the back, just the sides and the edge right here. I want those to look perfectly aligned. So now, once I know what I'm doing, I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to add Tombow all along it. Okay, and then I'm going to place it down, and I'm just going to make sure that it looks good. We're having the same side to side. If you get this piece running straight along here, it should be straight since you used a cutter, a trimmer, and a scoring board. It should work out pretty good. So I'm just making sure this is adhered down because I don't want it to shift. Okay, so that's kind of how it's going to close. Then I'm going to take, this is my box bottom, and it fits over top of this, okay? So I just want to make sure it's all the way down, okay? Once I have that, I'm going to put Tombow on here. And then I'm going to bring this piece, the outer piece, down. And just kind of want, like, you don't want this piece all the way back. You just want like a little bit of a lip right here. Just a tiny bit. It's going to be a little less of a lip here than you had on the bottom. And then you're just going to press this down gently, not too hard because there's nothing in this box right now, so you don't want to press into that empty space, but you just want to get that glue to start sticking to that box. Okay, so I know that this is the bottom, so let's flip this over. Okay, let's flip this over, and look, it looks pretty good down here. If you're worried, you can flip it over and double check to make sure it's aligning properly. Okay, so I know this is the top of the box because this is the bottom, the thicker piece is the bottom. So let's, before we open the box, let's decorate the box top. And for that, since I cut, for this card, I cut apart one of the card bases. Let me grab it so you can see what it looks like. So this is the card base. Here is the outside of the card base, and here's the inside of the card base. So basically when you punch it out, or when you fold it, this is the front, and then you could see the sun on the inside peeking through, and then when you open it, it's like this. It's a very cool card, but I wanted to, since I wanted to make 2 note card boxes and I wanted to use both pieces from here, just wanted to show you how you can kind of make a night and a day box. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to back this piece up with a piece of Daffodil Delight and then adhere it onto here. And so what I'll do, this piece is the same as a regular Stampin' Up! Card base. So it will measure, once you cut those two, when you cut along the score line right here, you can see it a bit better here. Cut along the score line here. Each of these pieces is going to measure 5.5 by 4.25, which is the same size as my box top right here. And then for this Daffodil Delight piece, I made it just a little bit shorter. So this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So to add adhesive onto here, I punched out all the little die cut stars, or the little stars that were in here, and I punched them out and saved them in a little bag in case I want to use them later. But this piece right here, you want to put Tombow on here. If you put it on here, you might get glue right where the moon is, so you want to work on the back side of this. And so I'm just going to come around here and add Tombow around the holes because I don't want to have any on the daffodil. So then I'm going to take this. Actually, you know what I can do? I'll add the Daffodil Delight like here so I can see where the edge is, so I can center it nicely. And then I'll press down. Okay. And then I'm going to adhere this to my box top. All right. I think it's kind of pretty to have one kind of have a night look and one kind of have a day look. So in the die cuts, there was that came with the kit, there was one of these little stars that you could punch out. So you just want to, I'm going to add that onto here. And I think that's the right orientation. I'm going to take a mini dimensional and pop it on the center of that star. And you just want to see what's the best. I think this is the best orientation. And because this kind of has this whoosh right here, this is like a shooting star. So it's kind of like wishing on a shooting star, which I think is kind of cool. All right, so we've got two very different looking boxes, but I think they're kind of cool. So then we're just going to open this up. Okay, so you can see when this comes in, you just nest this inside of here, and it fits really nicely, and it closes really nicely too. I really like the closure on this box. Okay, and then you're going to take your note cards. I've got 6 of them here because I just doubled everything up. And then I've got my envelopes. We would need a few more envelopes because there's 6 now, but let's just say we've got everything. And we've got envelopes in here. You could also stamp on your envelopes, like put a few butterflies on them. And look how nicely they fit inside the box. And I think if you were doing 1-layer cards, you could easily do 10 of these to fit inside the box, and that would make a nice little note card set. And then you just close them up, and there you go. You have a cute little note card box. And then of course we made these 2 beautiful cards. So just some extra ideas for you to use with your paper pumpkin kit. I hope you enjoyed those alternative samples. All right, I am coming back over to you, and let's talk about, some of the supplies that I use. First of all, I will have, this is also a blog post, so you might have be coming from this video from the blog post directly, and there will be a clickable supply list for all the additional supplies I used. And so I used the note cards, I used some basic black, Bermuda Bay, and white cardstock. I used a little bit of Daffodil Delight cardstock for this box top here. And I used only 4 colors of ink: Tuxedo Black, Bermuda Bay, Daffodil Delight, and Melon Mambo. The kit came with a Melon Mambo, so if you want to just stick to Melon Mambo, you have a Melon Mambo spot. I, of course, love to work with full-size pads, so that's why I pulled those out. I also used blends in Daffodil Delight, Melon Mambo, and Bermuda Bay. I used some Baker's Twine Essential Pack, and then I used some tools, which are kind of standard in most paper crafting households. You have the trimmer, the Simply Scored, the Stampin' Cut and Boss machine, and layering circles dies. If you don't already have a way to cut circles, I kind of think that circles are an essential crafting tool because they're very hard to freehand cut. And then the 2 adhesives I used were the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue and the Tear and Tape adhesive. All right, but the supply list will be accessible on the blog, so it'll be very easy for you to go over that. So let's talk about the May Paper Pumpkin Kit. It is $23.50 plus tax, and shipping is included. So it's a really fun thing to have come. It's like a surprise box because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but let me help you with a little bit with the contents of what this kit will include. Will you be one of the lucky golden voucher winners this month? This month is a special kit, and some people are going to win a $25 shopping spree in their kit. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to show you a sneak peek. So here we go. There's Sarah, and so she's got our paper pumpkin kit. And she's holding it up, and it's called Celebrating in Colors because we've got 5 new colors that came into our collection this month. You can see right here it says chance to win a golden voucher. The sign up is by May 10th. And then let me hide that. And then this one right here, this kind of shows you like a little bit of a sneak peek right here. You can see some, these are some of our new colors: Parakeet Party. I think this one is Starry Sky, and then that one is Sweet Sorbet. And it looks like we can see some embellishments down here, and that looks like one of the stamps. So very pretty, bold color sort of kit. All right, that kit is 10 cards and envelopes, and it's 2 each of 5 designs. And it says this kit features vivid pops of the new in colors. Send your best wishes or happy moments with the large, bold lettering and gorgeous gold foil details. Plus, you can send gift cards with the included coordinating gift card holders. So that's cool too. You can use these maybe for graduation or when you're wishing someone well on a new stage of life, and you can include a gift card in that. And of course, this kit includes printed card bases, die-cut paper pieces, embellishments, adhesive, and more. And it's going to include a basic gray Stampin' Spot. So don't forget to sign up with me by May 10th. If you have any questions, please let me know. So I hope you guys have a great day. Bye for now.